Hello, everyone. Today's lecture is going to talk about the research question and how to formulate a proper question to drive either your research or your evidence-based practice project. To start off, let's talk about the different terms that are used in formulating research. First off, we have our research problem. Our research problem is the reason why we're doing the research. So when you're looking for your research problem, you ask yourself, why are you doing the topic you're doing? What needs to be solved? What is the problem with the topic that you're interested in? The next part is your problem statement. And this is the data and support to show others why your research problem is important. Then we have our purpose statement, which is what you hope or think the research will accomplish. Once you've formulated that, you can format your research question. In nursing, we often use the PICO or PCOT question format, and we'll talk about how to do that a little bit later. Lastly, we have the hypothesis, and the hypothesis is what you suspect the outcomes of your research will be. Today, we're really going to focus on the problem statement and the research question and how to formulate both of them. So to start, let's talk about the problem statement and what to include. This is based off of Pullett and Beck's ninth edition of the Essentials of Nursing Research, Appraising Evidence for Nursing Practice. And they define certain things that should be included in your problem statement, starting with what the problem is. Following that, you should talk about what the background is of the problem, what led to the problem, what are contributing factors, how did the problem come about, and why do you think it's a problem? Then you should talk about the scope of the problem. How severe is the problem? How many people does it affect? What are the consequences of the problem? Also, you want to discuss if there's any knowledge gaps. If there are knowledge gaps, define what they are and how that impacts the problem further. And then you should end your problem statement with your proposed solution. Now we're going to talk about the research question. As I mentioned prior, in nursing, we can use one or the other, the PICO or PCOT question. The PICO question involves population, intervention, comparison, and outcome, whereas the PCOT question is the same exact thing, except we also add a time frame to that. So what does this mean? When we're defining the different elements of our research question, the P stands for population. So who are you studying? The I stands for intervention. So what is being done for this population? The comparison is the lack of intervention. So it's the opposite, or like I said, the lack of what we are implementing. The outcome is what you are anticipating will be the result of your intervention or what you're measuring. And if you include a time span, that would be over what time span are you measuring the outcomes from that intervention being implemented. So for some examples of how this would look, to start off, we'll use the PICO format. And the question that I have here is, does waking up naturally increase productivity in children's age 6 to 10 compared to those who are woken up by an alarm or a parent? So as you can see, our population here are children age 6 to 10. The intervention would be allowing these children to wake up naturally, where the comparison would be waking them up via an alarm or a parent, so the opposite of naturally waking up. The outcome that we're looking at here is how it improves or increases productivity. When we add a time frame to it, it looks a little bit different, but still has most of the same elements. So for example, does exercising for 20 minutes a day over the course of a month reduce risk for cardiovascular accident compared to those who do not exercise in individuals over the age of 60? So a little wordy, but has all the elements that we need. So the population would be individuals over the age of 60. The intervention is walking 20 minutes a day or exercising 20 minutes a day. The comparison would be having no exercise or not walking. The outcome would be reduced risk of cardiovascular accident, and the time frame would be over a 1-month period. So why is this important? Why is a research question important? Why is research important? Well, the reason that we create a research question is because one, it helps us to focus and define our research. There's so many topics and so many problems in the world that if we just picked a broad topic or a broad problem, it would take an impossible amount of time to find the research that we need. So by formulating a research question, it allows us to really narrow down specifically what we're looking at so that we can find a usable and a realistic solution. It also helps us to identify our search terms when we go to do a literature review. So, for example, you can take the different elements of the research question, and you can use those as your specific search terms to make sure that you're getting the exact literature that's going to be most relevant to your research question and whatever outcomes you're looking to create. It also helps to clarify what you're studying for others, and it allows us to better identify relationships, whether it's cause or effect or correlation between different aspects of your research question. And that, in summary, is how you would formulate your research question in your research problem.